Hi everyone, it's Matt Bentley-Walls here again. And guess what? It's relentless. Another wet day, so another vlog of random. It's the 24th of May and 2021. 24th of May. It should be spring. It is spring. And it's more like autumn. Can't believe it. Anyway, perfect time for another vlog. In fact, just before I get going, I want to heads up this to you. This is the Nikon F3. And if anybody is thinking of getting into photography, this is the second camera I ever bought. This is 35, 36 years old, something like that. I mean, look at it. This has never been CLA'd once. Never. And it's still going strong. And I was just having a little browse on eBay, as you do. And I saw one of these and I thought, I went onto the site and they range between 50 quid and 350 quid, depending on condition. Some of them have a lens on. This has got the AI6 pancake lens, 50mm. So I'm a 50-man, 50mm shooter. But this has just been, this is such a brilliant second camera for me. Second camera, sometimes I go out with it deliberately. And it's not a backup camera. Still love shooting with this thing. 2000th of a second, aperture priority. Anybody thinking of getting into photography, young or not so young, I mean, what a steal! This is about £1,000 35 years ago. So, I mean, I can't. I can't do the maths in terms of, but that is a fraction of the price if you take inflation into account. And hey, some of them are battered and bruised around about the £100 mark, but if they're still working, they're still working. And what a brilliant way to get into film photography is all I'm saying. Highly recommend. It's probably back in the day when they came out in the 80s. Don't ask me what year they came out, but it was Nikon's top professional camera. And I would argue it is Nikon's best SLR camera ever made. That's quite a claim, isn't it? But yeah, just a brilliant camera in so many ways. Fantastic lens as well. But yeah, just thought I'd give you a little bit of a heads up on that one. But anyway, on to the vlog. I'm going to probably bore the pants off you with this one because, well, not least because I bore the pants off myself. Colour versus black and white. I'm sort of almost hesitant to do this because, does anyone care? Is it important? Probably not. And yet, time and time again, it keeps coming back to me, Shouldn't I be pulled into the, it's 2021, shouldn't I be kicking and screaming into the modern age with shooting colour photography? And I never do. I mean, I will say straight off, I shoot black and white. I've never once deviated from black and white. I've thought about the possibility maybe. It was a strange thing because I was thinking of all the sort of famous colour photographers out there, varying degrees of ability. But yeah, I mean, look, there are more and more of them, aren't there? Matt Stewart shoots great colour photography. I saw an interview with him once, quite recently actually, and he was launching a book, I think, of some description, and he was asked why he shoots in colour, and he said, well, because there are so many brilliant black and white photographers out there. which I thought was quite an interesting idea in terms of why shoot colour. But yeah, the William Egglestons and the, you know, I mean, there's a whole, yeah, these are contemporary photographers. There are sort of people who were doing it back in the day, Joel Meyerowitz and people like that. Yeah, and then you've got, what's his name, the head of Magnum, can't remember his name. I should know his name. Can't remember his name. Name's not my strongest thing. But you know who I mean. And yeah, all shooting colour. But then I kind of temper the argument a little bit and think, well, Sebastian Salgado still shoots black and white, so hey. But in terms of street photography, reportage photography, why do I still shoot black and white? Am I being a bit of a fossil? You know, these questions and different ways of looking at things. You know, I shoot colour, I shoot because I shoot with an M10, but I always desaturate it. I always bring it back to black and white. In terms of film, I don't think I've bought a colour film for 30 years. And there's another question. So back in yesteryear, you know, you'd always struggle a bit with casts, you know, unless it was a very controlled studio lighting situation. You'd always have to sort of rely on the manufacturer's film characteristics. Agfa was always notoriously a bit warmer than Kodak. But, you know, depending on their various different types of film, obviously. And then you grapple with that. And now, you know, I shoot with the M10, I go out, and I look at those colours, and I just, well, you know, I'd have given anything to get those kind of colours back in the day with film. And yet, I'm still not tempted. I shot with the M9, probably one of the best colour sensors ever. I don't know. Well, you know what I mean. It's renowned as being an amazing sensor, even though it's faulty. But you know, even then, you know, why am I not seduced by it? I mean, I am sometimes. I am. It's I get some of those images back, and so that was a thing. You get an image that you really liked, and then some of the colours jarred, or they clashed, or something. So it would always revert back to black and white. You know, get rid of that sort of that colour thing going on. And then occasionally you get an image where, wow, all the colours weren't just fantastic, and they were rendered beautifully, and all the colours kind of coordinated. You've got cools, you know, reds and blues and what have you. Everything just looked beautiful colour-wise. And then still, I would, you know, I would look at it some more. No, back to black and white. You know, why is that? I mean, you know, why does any, you know, initially people shot in black and white, didn't they? Because colour wasn't available. There was no such thing as colour film. So you'd have thought that with the advent of colour film, colour sensors, everybody would shoot, especially with reportage photography, because you kind of go, well, you know, it's realistic. That's how it looks. That's what it was like. That, you know, colour for colour and all of that kind of thing. And yet, you know, I'm thinking, am I just being stubborn? Am I just, you know, I don't know. It's a, you know, it's never it's never a question, because I've always been black and white. But I thought of this little, I don't know whether it's true or not, but it just occurred to me the other day that you get various photographers, well-known photographers, that started out in black and white and then fairly soon moved over to colour. I think Matt Stewart shot initially in black and white and then moved over to colour. The guy at Magnum also shot in black and white, definitely, but then moved. the bulk of his work is in colour. But are there any photographers that kind of started out in colour and then moved over to black and white? Well, I was struggling to think of anybody who'd done that. I'm just wondering why that hasn't happened. Anyway. It's I don't know. I thought I'd throw it out there just to get some comments and thoughts on. I'm not sort of questioning whether thinking maybe. Well, I always question myself, and not just with color, but is it a good enough image? All the rest of it. You're always your own, hopefully your own best critic, really. So I'm not sort of thinking, oh, maybe I should, but once in a while I do think that. It gets dismissed like all the other times I think of it. But the one and only thing I can come to, the way I've processed it anyway in my mind, is that when you get those fantastic images out of the M10 or whatever it is you shoot with that you're happy with, and I kind of go, why don't I shoot colour? Look at those colours, they're amazing. I think there's something in me that says, well, yeah, yesteryear there were the casts, so that's why I didn't shoot colour. And now colours are so good, so aesthetically pleasing, so amazing, really. You've got to take your hats off to the technicians, Wow. But the colours are so good now. I'm having exactly the same feeling. It's almost as though that's what you see first. You notice the colour. You go, wow, look at those reds, look at the greens of those, of the grass, and just absolutely amazing. And the image is almost secondary. You then have to sort of stop looking at the colours, like I said in my previous vlog with wide-angle lenses, I don't want the first thing that somebody sees about one of my images or thinks about one of my images is, oh, that was a wide-angle lens. It's the last thing I want. I want the image to be king, and anything that gets in the way of that is a no-no for me, I think. I think that's probably what it's about for me in my mind. There's no right or wrong. I mean, some people shoot both, and hey, great. No right or wrong here. But I think that's what it comes down to. It's almost as though colour is a distraction. It's one other thing that gets in the way, and I want to sort of an immediate way in to the image. I just want light and shade. I want geometry. I want composition to be great. I want the subject matter to be great. Hopefully, it's a very difficult thing to do, but those are the things I think that just float my boat. And when I look at my image or somebody else's image, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see how it was shot, or I may well invariably ask myself that afterwards, but I don't want that to be the first thing I'm thinking about or the first thing I'm seeing in the image. I want that direct window, and it either works or it doesn't work, and then I'll but with colour, especially when it's beautiful colour, that's the first thing I notice. I think it's the first thing I notice, and then I think, well, am I liking this because of the colours in it? Is it a strong enough image if it weren't colour? I've literally taken some very famous photographs that are in colour, shot by very well-known photographers, and I've desaturated them to see what they look like in Lightroom. I just want to kind of, see if what it is that are the colours helping? Is it a good enough image if it didn't have those colours in it? Some yes, some no. But I don't know. There's no actual answer to this, so I don't know even why I'm doing this vlog. It's one of those eternal things that just keeps going round and round, and you know, maybe that's why it's interesting, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, leave me some comments, because I'm always interested in things. I am decided on it, in the sense that here and now, and for the past 35 years, I've been decided on it. But I never say absolutely to anything. I'm always try and keep an open mind, and you know, I could change tomorrow, and that wouldn't be a bad thing. It wouldn't be wrong, or you know, I'd be somehow not being loyal to my, you know, being inconsistent or anything like that. No, I don't think so. I It's not like I want a good argument to change to colour, but if one came along, I'd be open to it. But so far, nothing has come along that's changed my mind. You know, there was the argument back in the 60s. Oh, these, you know, the Joel Meyerowitz and people of that ilk were shooting colour, and wasn't it sort of groundbreaking? Especially William Eggleston, one of his claims to fame is that he shot colour. And I'm thinking, is that really a claim to fame? You know, the fact that he chose to shoot colour. I mean, why? It's just a choice of film, isn't it? It's just a you know, I don't think anybody really cares that much. It's not like, I don't know. Yeah, very few people did it. He did it, so what? It's not like he invented colour film. It's not like, you know, I don't know. An accolade, no, it's just a choice, you know, a preference. But, yeah, I think that's probably all I want to say on it, and I've not really said anything. I've just expressed some some doubts, really. But hey, that's how it is for this one. It's shorter than the others, so maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, thanks very much for stopping by, and see you for the next one. Cheers for now.